The morning sun spilled golden light across the glass walls of the international airport, painting the marble floors in a way that almost made the rush of people seem peaceful. But airports are never truly quiet, never truly still. Suitcases rolled, children cried, boarding announcements echoed, and people moved fast in all directions, as if the entire building pulsed with nervous energy. No one could have guessed that within the next few minutes, everything would freeze, silenced by one desperate scream. The scream didn't come from a child or a passenger late for a flight. It came from Daniel Whitmore, the billionaire tech investor whose name was whispered with awe in every financial magazine. Known for his luxury lifestyle and untouchable confidence, Daniel was the kind of man who never looked shaken. But on this morning, he wasn't surrounded by bodyguards, nor was he walking with his usual air of command. He was just a father. And his scream cut through the noise like glass shattering. "Please, do something. Somebody, help my daughter." Heads turned. People stopped mid-step. Phones lowered. For a moment, the airport seemed to hold its breath. On the polished floor near Gate 17, a little girl lay limp, her small body frighteningly still. She couldn't have been more than 7, with golden curls tangled around her pale face. Her eyes were shut tight, her lips slightly blue, and Daniel, this man worth billions, was on his knees, shaking her gently, his voice breaking. Security rushed forward, passengers crowded in shock, and flight attendants tried to clear the area. "Is anyone here a doctor? Please. We need medical assistance," one of them cried. But the airport was huge, and the medical team was still minutes away. Minutes too long. Daniel's hands trembled as he tried to remember CPR, but fear consumed him. His wealth, his power, his reputation, none of it mattered. He would have given it all away in that instant just to hear his daughter breathe. And then, from the corner of the chaos, a voice spoke, not loud, but steady, filled with a kind of calm that only comes from surviving storms of your own. "I can help." People turned to see a woman in a faded blue cleaning uniform, her gray hair tied back in a bun, her face lined with the kind of age that speaks of both hardship and resilience. She was holding a mop, her work interrupted by the commotion. No one recognized her name, no one noticed her every day when she scrubbed the floors invisible to the world. But at that moment, all eyes were on her. Daniel looked up desperately. "Please, do something. She's not breathing." The woman set her mop aside, dropped to her knees, and without hesitation began chest compressions. Her hands were practiced, steady, almost instinctual. Each press was measured with urgency but precision. People whispered, "Does she know what she's doing? Who is she?" But the woman didn't flinch, didn't answer. Her focus was on the child before her. "Come on, sweetheart, stay with us," she whispered softly, as if speaking to her own child. Daniel watched, tears streaking his face, his hands clenched helplessly. He had built empires, signed deals worth billions, but he had never felt so powerless. The seconds stretched into eternity until finally, after one last compression, the little girl gasped a sharp, fragile breath that broke the silence. Her chest rose. Her lips turned pink. Her eyes fluttered open weakly. The crowd erupted in gasps and relieved cries. Daniel collapsed beside his daughter, clutching her hand, sobbing with gratitude. The woman sat back, catching her own breath, tears glistening in her tired eyes. "Thank you," Daniel choked, his voice raw. "You saved her. You saved my baby." The paramedics arrived moments later, rushing in with equipment, but their urgent pace slowed when they realized the girl was already breathing again. They took over, checking her vitals, but even they looked at the cleaning lady with quiet respect. The crowd began to disperse, some recording, some whispering, but Daniel couldn't look away from the woman who had just given him back his world. "What's your name?" he asked. "Maria," she said simply, wiping her hands on her uniform. "Maria," he repeated, as if committing it to memory. "Why, how did you know what to do?" Her eyes softened. "I used to be a nurse, many years ago. Before life took me another way. I lost my little boy once, right in my arms. I couldn't save him. Since then, I promised myself if I ever got another chance, I wouldn't fail." The words struck Daniel like thunder. Here was a woman who had walked through pain deeper than he could imagine, and yet she carried within her the courage to act when everyone else froze. Daniel's daughter was stabilized and taken to the hospital, but before leaving, Daniel turned to Maria. In that moment, he didn't see a cleaning lady. He saw an angel disguised in ordinary clothes. The story didn't end at the airport. Daniel couldn't forget Maria's face, her voice, her strength. A week later, when his daughter was fully recovered, he searched for her. It wasn't hard, she had returned to her job, quietly mopping floors, unnoticed once again by the rush of travelers. This time, Daniel approached her differently. Not as a billionaire offering thanks, but as a man humbled by the truth that sometimes the greatest heroes live among us, unseen. Maria, he said, you saved my daughter's life. I can never repay you, but I can give you back what life tried to take from you. You don't belong in the shadows anymore. Maria shook her head gently. I don't need riches. I just need peace. But Daniel insisted. With his resources, he helped her return to nursing, sponsoring her recertification and opening a foundation in her late son's name, a fund to train ordinary people in life-saving skills, because Maria's story had shown him that real change doesn't always come from wealth, but from compassion. Years later, that foundation saved countless lives, and Maria became a symbol of hope. She never sought fame, but her story spread far and wide, reminding the world that titles and money mean nothing in the face of humanity. And Daniel? He often told the story whenever people praised his fortune. He would say, the day I almost lost my daughter, it wasn't my money that saved her. It was the hands of a woman everyone overlooked. Remember this, true wealth lies in kindness. Final message for viewers. If this story touched your heart, I want to hear your thoughts. What did you feel when Maria stepped forward? Do you believe ordinary people are often the greatest heroes? Share your feelings in the comments below, I'll be reading them all. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Be kind always for more inspiring stories that remind us of the power of love, kindness, and courage. Remember, you never know whose life you might save with one act of compassion.